It's good, y'all. Welcome back to Niner Wire. I'm your host, Sam, and today we are back for another pregame analysis. Thursday Night Football, Week 9. Big game against the Packers, NFC Championship rematch. Wishing it was a bigger game, but with all the injuries, I mean, the future's looking bleak for us. But anyways, we got to give this pregame analysis to you. And for this pregame analysis, we got we got two guests this time. We got Julian right here, and we got Max right here. How you guys doing today?
I'm good.
Good. I'm excited.
Good to hear. Yeah, man. We got a Niners fan. We got a Packers fan. We ready to break this down, get right into it. So let's just do that right away. But before we get into it, make sure to follow me on Twitter at NinerWireSam. My Instagram's at NinerWire_YT. I'm very inactive there. I keep putting it there. I should probably take it off, but it is what it is. Also, guys, there's not going to be post-game tonight. We're going to be on Julian and I are going to be on Fantasy Hall Monitor after the game with Jake. The link is in the description. Make sure to tune into that after the game. There's not going to be post-game tonight. There is going to be a video coming hopefully Saturday or Sunday to make up for that for you guys. So make sure to stay on the lookout for that. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure to leave them in the chat below and we will get to them during the video. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So before we get into anything, do you guys have any opening thoughts about the game? Anything you want to talk about before we get into the formalities and everything?
No, I mean, I'm just kind of excited. I wish that it was a better game because we're missing 3 starting wide receivers, starting running backs, starting tight ends. But I still think that Kyle Shanahan could make it a semi-close game. Probably not as close as it was, not as close as it would be, but I still think that there's a chance that it's not a blow. I don't think that the Packers are really going to put up like 37-10 at the end of the game. I think Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh are too good for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be a total blowout. I mean, I've been saying for a while, like, we own this team. But, I mean, with all the injuries today, I mean, it's again, as I said at the beginning, it's looking bleak, but it's not going to be a total blowout. We have 3 offensive starters that are normally in our starting lineup, and there are 3 worst offensive players. Laken Tomlinson, Daniel Brunskill, Mike McGlinchey. And Laken Tomlinson, by the way, not bad player, but just compared to everyone else, he's not our best starter. The COVID case really hurt with Kendrick Bourne, and that coming out that was a false positive. That just really sucks for everyone because, I mean, we could have Ayuk today. We could have Trent Williams today. Those are 2 crucial parts of this offense. And Kendrick Bourne, too. Not to mention Kendrick Bourne. We could be a lot healthier, but I guess we're not. And I mean, the fact that I'll just tell you how unhealthy we are. We have 3 inactive players. Usually we have 6, but we have 3 this week because we can't deactivate anyone else. That's how bad it is today for our team. And yeah, I don't know, Max, do you know the Packers inactives or?
I mean, the only one I really know is I know that Bakhtiari is not playing, but that was kind of a given coming into the game. I don't think it'll matter like too much. You guys. There isn't really anyone coming off the edge anyway. I mean, Armstead's still there up the middle, but no Bosa, no. I mean, I guess Solomon Thomas is more of a 3 tech, but definitely
except he tore his ACL though.
Yeah, it's just not a good
situation. We don't have D Ford anymore, so
I mean, our best pass rusher this year has been our edge rusher, Kerry Hyder, who's rusher guys. So I mean. Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting much from this defensive line. We haven't been able to get to the quarterback a lot this year. It's mainly just like a ton of quarterback pressures, but no sacks or anything. We'll have like 1 or 2 sacks a game. But I mean, Bosa's presence, D Ford's presence, they're really missing. That's why I've been going off all year about Robert Saleh saying he needs to make adjustments. And last game he did, but hopefully he'll make adjustments today against the Green Bay Packers. So, yeah. All right, so let's just get right into the formalities. Let's start with the offensive key to the game. I want one of you guys to start. Let's start with the Packers this time. Let's just go guess first, I guess. So let's start with the Packers offense. Max, what you got for this one?
Well, I mean, I have a couple goals. I want to get Aaron Jones rolling. Coming back from a calf injury, definitely missed him last week. Yeah, we had Jamal Williams there, but. I don't know. Jones is just such a key part of our offense. Without him, we're very one-dimensional. So getting him going this week is going to be good, especially against the relatively depleted Niners D. But I guess offensive goal is just really just dominate. Just because, I mean, this week is a big morale booster coming off of the loss last week. to a very not great Vikings team. So just get the offense back rolling. Rodgers didn't really look like his usual self last week. So I think this could be a big week for him.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely I definitely agree with you about getting the ball moving. By the way, your camera's a bit blurry and your audio is a bit spotty, just to let you know, Max. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean it's all good. I just want to let him know. But yeah, I mean my offensive key is like it's really similar to yours. Just keep the ball moving. And I don't know if you guys have watched my other streams, but I've said this a lot for the opponent's offense coming into games against the 49ers that the Niners offense struggles when teams keep the ball moving. We saw it against Miami. We saw it against Seattle. We saw it against Philadelphia. We saw it against Arizona. Those are all our 4 losses. And what do they have in common? The offense of the other team kept the ball moving. I think Green Bay definitely has the best chance to do that this week because, I mean, you got such a high-octane offense. You get Aaron Jones back, who they said is going to be in a limited role. But still, I mean, it's Aaron Jones, he's a top 3 running back in football at this point, just considering how well he's been playing. So there's definitely a lot of weapons that the Packers are going to use to help just keep the ball moving. And I do think if they're going to keep the ball moving all game, it's going to be a blowout win, like a 38-10 win, like Julian said. I'm not expecting it, but don't be surprised if that happens if they keep the ball moving. So that's my offensive key of the game for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, so for the offensive key for the 49ers, I would say establish the run because the best way to beat Aaron Rodgers is to just not let him have the ball. You cannot have a lot of 3-and-outs or just get 1 first down on a play because the more Aaron Rodgers has the ball in his hands, the better he gets, right? You don't want him to get in a rhythm. And so I think that establishing the run and I think establishing really JaMychal Hasty, the running defense for Green Bay is not very good. Their zone block success rate is 56.7. That's the 4th worst. And the Niners love to run zone. They run zone the 8th most out of any team. And so I think that bodes well for the 49ers. And so I think they can get that zone run going. And I would say that I think getting the run going with JaMychal Hasty, but also with Kyle Juszczyk, I would like to see them utilize him maybe a little more than they do because you saw him against the Patriots. I mean, that catch that he made, the touchdown running, he just ran that guy over. So
I'm not saying give
Juszczyk like 10 touches, but I would say like 4, 5, 6 touches would be nice. So I say establish the run so you can keep it out of Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers' hands, and then get to play action to Jordan Reed and stuff like that. So establish the run is my main offensive key to the game.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that one. And that's exactly what I had written. Just run, run, run. I mean, you're going in with one of the best run coaches in the league, best offensive-minded coach in the league, a pretty solid run game. I mean, I've said this before that Kyle Shanahan can work with any running back he wants. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, the Niners are going to run the Packers' asses all game long, I feel like. And, I mean, when you get a team like the Green Bay Packers who have one of, if not the worst run D in the league, you're going to have to execute that really well. And they're going to run the ball a lot. Like, I'm not expecting a lot of passes this game. I'm really just expecting run after run after run. It's going to be a run-heavy game for the 49ers, whether they're winning or they're losing. And, I mean, yeah, you're just going to want to establish the run early. Make sure you do it early so you're not down in this game. Therefore, you can run more, get the score up. And if somebody has like a Mostert-type game against the Packers in the NFC Championship, like whether it's like JaMychal Hasty, Jerick McKinnon, those are only 2 running backs. I think we called up another guy. I have no clue what his name is.
Yeah, we did call up another. Yeah,
we did. What his name is?
I forget. He was good in like the preseason last year or something like that.
I don't remember him that well. I remember tweeting out like, who is this guy? His name is Austin Walter, I believe. Yeah, so he was pretty good in the preseason last year. I think he was a practice squad flex. So I don't think we're going to see a lot of action of him. I think you're mainly looking at Hasty and McKinnon, like Julian said, but you're going to have to establish that run really early, get a solid lead, and just be able to use the run the whole game. I mean, it's pretty simple for the Niners. I do think they're going to be able to do that pretty easily. So again, it's going to really come down to the Packers offense and the Niners defense, but the Niners, there's no exception that they have to run and execute that run really well to start off this game. and just continue on throughout the game.
For sure.
Max, you got anything for Niners offense?
Well, I was just run it down the Packers' throat. I mean, yeah, Dalvin Cook's a great back, and not everyone can just go score 4 touchdowns in a game, but against the Packers, it's not unlikely that someone could do that. Just to harp on what you guys said about, I mean, the run defense is just abysmal, and that in part is due to the Packers front office, which I'm increasingly more disappointed in every single day. The inability to get a weapon on offense, but even to build up a solid linebacker core. I mean, we got rid of Blake Martinez, who, by no means is like a good middle linebacker, but he gets a lot of tackles. And he's there to plug the gaps. So the absence of a solid middle linebacker is really coming to bite us in the butt. So I guess, to stop the run. But
how's Kamal Martin doing this year? Because I know that I liked him going into the draft, the linebacker out of Minnesota. I know you guys drafted him. How's he been this year? I haven't seen much of him, but I
have no idea. I think he might be out this week.
He is
because of COVID or something.
You're right.
Or I think he got injured.
I think it was because I think it was Dylan that got COVID. Then Jamal Williams and him were close contacts or something like that. So
Martin needs knee surgery.
Oh, knee surgery. Okay, there was another.
Surgery.
Gotcha. I think there was another close contact of AJ Dillon, who was the Packer that got COVID. Who is out tonight, along with Jamal Williams. But I mean, this stream is moving really quickly. I mean, we're all coming to like the same consensus is that the Green Bay offense needs to keep the ball moving. The Niners D needs to run the ball. I don't think Julian shared. I think you skipped the Green Bay offensive key. You got anything for that?
Oh, Green Bay. I would say that
he went right to Niners, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's all
I would
good.
say that for the key, if you're Green Bay, I would say Devontae Adams is the key. I think that targeting him a lot. You saw what the DK Metcalf and Julio Jones and these other wide receivers did to these corners. I understand that DK Metcalf, Julio, they're bigger receivers, but I still think Devontae Adams is going to get his. And if you can do that, I think that they're going to make him. I think that the blitzing, if you can blitz, then I think the Niners are going to blitz a lot. And so I think quick passes to Devontae Adams, like slants or out routes and stuff like that, I think that that's going to be good because I understand that this is my prediction. I think that Robert Saleh, to get to Aaron Rodgers, you're going to have to get pressure. And they can't get pressure with these pass rushers that they have on the defensive line. They're just run stuffers. And so I think that they're going to bring a lot of blitzes. And I think that if you can get quick passes to Devontae Adams, get Rodgers, get rid of the ball fast, then he gets in a rhythm, and then I think that they're going to put up a lot of points if they can do that. So I think that's the key, to get like Devontae Adams these quick passes, because I truly believe that the Niners are going to blitz a lot. So I think it's important to get slants and out routes to Devontae Adams.
I want to talk about your blitz point real quick because, frankly, I don't know if that's going to be the case. And so let's just start off. As I said early in the stream, Robert Saleh does not blitz. He did not make the adjustments when Nick Bosa and Dee Ford went out. He didn't blitz like he never blitzed in the past. He didn't blitz when Nick Bosa, Dee Ford went out. All those other guys on the defensive line, when those guys went out, he played with he just went normal. The Seahawks game, he started to blitz, and the Seahawks figured them out immediately, and that's how they got the targets to DK Metcalf. That's how they got the touchdowns. That's how they got the easy points, and that's how they blew us out.
But this is the thing with blitzing. I think that if you don't blitz, you're not going to get pressure. Javon Kinlaw isn't a pass rusher. He's a run stopper, right? Mm-hmm. Eric Armstead has 1.5 sacks this year. He's been terrible, right? Mm-hmm. Kerry Hyder is really their only pass rusher, and if you don't get pressure on Rodgers, he's going to just dice you up. There's no way you can stop him. He can't be sitting in the pocket for 4 or 5 seconds, right? He can't break, contain, run around. You got MVS, right? He ran a 4.3 40. He's going to get open. Mm-hmm. You can't have the guy be in this back there for 6, 7 seconds, 5, 6 seconds, which will probably happen if you do not bring some blitzes like K'Wan Williams off the edge or even Jimmy Ward. So I think that do think that they're going to Tart. I think they're going to
that Tart's going to be a big factor in the blitz game. But I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, like, don't be surprised if they don't blitz. I do think they're going to run a bit. I think they can run a bit more blitz considering the fact that last week you're playing a mobile quarterback in Russell Wilson. So blitzing it's always a bit risky because if he gets out of the pocket, if you can't get him, then he's going to have someone open. And that's exactly what they had last week. And then you look at Aaron Rodgers, not that much of a mobile quarterback. And I think you can definitely blitz a bit more. Just Max.
Okay. Look, the thing with mobile quarterbacks, I think people, when they use the word mobile, they think Lamar and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. But when I constitute a mobile quarterback, someone that can scramble out of that pocket, they can navigate the pocket really well and run out. And that's Aaron Rodgers. He navigates the pocket as good or better than anyone else. He can run out of the pocket really well and chuck it. He has a great arm. So I think that, yeah, he's not going to run for 80 yards on you like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes could or Lamar, but I still think he's mobile. I mean, Max, you're a Packer fan.
You're a Packers fan, yeah. Say it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, he's just dynamic in and out of the pocket. So, I mean, if you guys do choose to bring pressure, I just don't know how effective it's going to be. Yeah, we're depleted at the tackle spot, but Rodgers is just so dynamic in the pocket that I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't even matter.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's tough to game plan against Aaron Rodgers because he's not a one-dimensional quarterback like some of these other traditional pocket passers are.
For sure.
Even at how old he is, I mean, he's able to move around the pocket like he's, I don't know, like in his quote-unquote prime, as if he's not in it right now. But
yeah, definitely. And it's really like we saw this last year where the Niners were keeping Aaron Rodgers in the pocket, and that's how you're struggling. It's when the quarterback gets out of the pocket where the Niners really struggle. So I do think the blitz will help with like keeping him in the pocket, trying to make him less dynamic, make sure that he stays in that pocket instead of letting him get out with like a 4-man rush. You get pressure from the side, then he gets out of the pocket. It's the question I have is can Robert Saleh or will Robert Saleh learn from his mistakes last week and capitalize? Because Frank, it could just be me just not having that much faith in Robert Saleh, as I have not had that much faith earlier. I mean, yes, he's building my trust a little bit back, little by little, game by game, just because he's starting to make the adjustments. Hopefully he can make another adjustment today with the blitz for the Niners and he's got to keep Aaron Rodgers in the pocket with those blitzes. That's the most important thing for the 49ers. Because if he's out of the pocket, he's going to destroy the Niners because the Niners can't get to him. He might be able to just do some running. I mean, Niners, yes, they struggle against mobile quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers not mobile, but when a quarterback's out of the pocket, they have room to run. So there's a lot of different scenarios that Aaron Rodgers could have today where the Niners have to be really have to just be ready for anything if you're the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah. And I think that another key for the 49ers is just get quick passes. To Jordan, the passing, your wide receiver and core reminds me of like 3 years ago when we didn't have any touchdowns from the wide receivers in like till week 10 or something, right? You got like Trent Taylor as your number one receiver. That's not good. So I think the key is passing it quickly. Do not let Zadarius Smith get to you, right? That guy has 6 sacks this year. No one else on that Packers team has more than 2. You have to subdue Zadarius Smith. He will get hit. He's going against a backup left tackle and Mike McGlinchey. He'll get his sacks. You do not want him to be under constant pressure because Nick Mullins, who saw it against Philadelphia, when he's under pressure, he's not good, right? You look at with a clean pocket, he's on target 87% of the time. Under pressure, it goes down to 61. Yards per attempt goes from 10 to 5, and his quarterback rating goes from 116 to 63. So you really have to target the running backs and tight ends. You saw what he does when he passes to Jordan Reed. The catch percentage, right, is 73% for Jordan Reed, 85% for Ross Dwelly. Neither of them has a single drop this year. And so I think passing it to the tight ends and Jerick McKinnon will be key. I don't want to see, pass to your wide receivers, obviously, but I would love to see more Jordan Reed, Ross Dwelly, Kyle Juszczyk, and Jerick McKinnon than the wide receivers. So I think the key is quick passes to tight ends and running backs to subdue that pass rush that just is Zadarius Smith.
Yeah, that's a great point you make that I didn't really think about going into this, but I mean, you mentioned quick passes. This is what our team's built off of. The quick passes, the short checkdowns, because that's how Jimmy G's built. He doesn't have that long arm. He usually goes those short passes, and that's why you get guys I mean, it's the yak attack offense. You need guys who can get the short passes and just go. Doesn't matter where they get the ball. They just got to get those yards after catch. And Trent Taylor, I mean, they've kept him on the team for a while because they do believe that he can be that guy. And yes, he's been struggling this year, but maybe today's the day because he's going to probably get most of the targets. It could be River Craycraft, could be Kevin White, who I think a lot of people are really high on. Kevin White, former first-round pick, top 10 pick. Just injuries have riddled his entire career. So, I mean, you're obviously hoping for him to come in a big way today, see what happens. And then the other receiver, Jawan Jennings, big yak guy, 7th-round pick for us, making his NFL debut. He's going to be a big yak guy. So, yeah, I definitely think there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of receivers that you can get those short passes to. So, yeah, I completely agree with you, Julian.
And Max, the corners for Green Bay, how are the corners on Green Bay? Like, how do you guys got some good corners? Because I really don't know much.
Yeah, I mean, we have Jair
Alexander. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But also, I mean, guys like Kevin King and Josh Jackson haven't really performed to the level that, I'd like. I mean, Jair had this one like pass interference in the end zone last week that I don't know.
Oh yeah.
It just didn't look like how hyped up he's like. I don't know. He hasn't been playing to the hype, and I don't know. He's definitely a good bounce back week this week with the limited attack on the offense for the Niners. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but what Anthony brings up right here, Kevin White will fulfill his potential today. I mean, he has a very good chance of getting a lot of targets and maybe going up against some of those guys in the Green Bay secondary. And yes, it's Kevin White. This dude is a complete bust because of injuries, which it does suck. But, I mean, look at it. You look at it this way. You'd rather be a bust who's riddled by injuries than a bust who just flat out sucked. And I do think Kevin White –
Bears drafted?
Yeah, this is the Bears guy. He just had way too many injuries.
Yeah, he was like picked like 4th or something.
Yeah, he was 7th overall pick. But I mean, yes, he's had a lot of injuries. But look at what Jason Verrett's done this year. I mean, so many injuries and then now just balling out for us. I'm not saying that Kevin White is going to have a phenomenal game. I'm not saying that he's going to be the guy that we need to succeed. Because I mean, frankly, he's been on the practice squad all year long. And if he was that guy that we think could succeed, he would have been called up a lot longer. I mean,
especially with the injury to Debo, right?
Yeah, exactly. The injury to Debo. Ayuk was hurt week 1. He did get called up, I believe, the Philadelphia game, but yeah, that was really it. I mean, it was kind of on and off between him and Pettis, but yeah, I mean, Kevin White could have a big game today. Definitely got to watch out for. But I mean, I'm not holding my breath about Kevin White doing well because, frankly, I mean, as I've said, I don't have that much faith in this team. Not really any expectations for Kevin White, but definitely a guy to look out for the 49ers offense. So, yeah. All right. I know we're going all over the place today with keys to the game, but hey, that's how the stream flows. That's what we like to do it here. But I want to bring up my Niners defensive key, and this is exactly what Julian. Kind of what Julian said. He mentioned the blitz and the cornerbacks. I kind of focus a bit more on the cornerbacks and just locking down the wide receivers because right now our secondary is the healthiest position on defense. And I mean, your linebacker core is healthy, but I mean, the linebacker. Okay, let me take that back. The linebacker core is the healthiest on defense, considering that Azeez Al-Shaair is now our starting linebacker with Quan gone. But I mean, the secondary is the second healthiest, and it's going to be the most important today because, as Julian said, you got Devontae Adams, who, in my opinion, is a top 5 receiver in this league. Undoubtedly a top 5 receiver in this league. Why is that even a question? You got no Allen Lazard today. That is huge for the Niners. They have to capitalize on that because, I mean, Allen Lazard, when he's healthy, he's pretty damn good. You got MVS, who's going to be the speed guy today. But still, I mean, Devontae Adams, that has to be your main focus, and they have to lock down the receivers because – let's be real. You're gonna the running game. You have Aaron Jones, but he's gonna be limited. That's huge for the Niners. And then you have some guys who I've never even heard of before this week. So, I mean, passing game is going to be a big part of the Packers offense today. That's what they're going for today. So if the Niners D can lock that down, it's going to be huge for the 49ers. Also, I'll bring this up while I can. Inactives today. I know we said we have 3 inactives. That is true. The inactives today are Akella Witherspoon is the only healthy scratch of the day. And then Tevin Coleman, Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles are the 49ers inactives for today. But Akella Witherspoon out, so that's one less guy in the secondary. So yeah, but still, it doesn't matter. Locking up the Packers receivers is the key to the game for the 49ers defense.
To respond to Anthony's thing real quick, they kept him and Christian Kirksey on IR for the game. They didn't activate him. With all these injuries, it makes sense. So
yeah. Back to your point about the cornerbacks, I think that if you're the 49ers, you want to make someone besides Devontae Adams beat you. And when I say make someone besides Devontae Adams beat you, I mean don't hold him to like 100 yards. Don't let him get 20 targets, 15 receptions, 250, and 2 touchdowns. Because that's how he wins it. He's gonna get his 100 yards. He's gonna get those double-digit targets. And I think that I mean, we'll see.
We'll see about that. I don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, they're probably gonna put. That's another interesting question for the Niners, and I'll let you finish, Julian. But is Mosley going to be on Devontae Adams after what happened last week against DK Metcalf?
Well, this is
move it to Verrett. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens there.
This is the thing with Mosley. I think that he did. If you saw those deep passes to DK Metcalf, there were 2 things. Mosley's not big enough. DK Metcalf's not human. He's just. We don't have anyone that can guard DK Metcalf. We need to draft or sign someone that's big that can guard DK Metcalf. And you got Russell Wilson, probably the greatest deep ball thrower on the face of the earth, probably right now. He just throws down.
Absolutely.
And I think Rodgers is great, but he's not the deep ball thrower that Russell Wilson is. And Devontae Adams is great. He's just not the big-bodied receiver that DK Metcalf is. And I think you saw with Emmanuel, he was in good position with DK Metcalf. He's just not tall enough. There was literally nothing he could do. It was over the top. He put it down the chimney. You can't block if you're not big enough. It's physically impossible for you to stop that. And so I think that's why I would put Mosley. I would be okay with Mosley or Verrett on Devontae Adams just because I think that he's not that big body receiver that DK Metcalf is. And I think that back to my point of letting someone besides Adams beat you, I think they got to do a cover 2 man, which basically is you got a cornerback having inside leverage with 2 safeties atop, and the corner's doing trail coverage, meaning that he's behind him, and then you got the safety over the top. I think that could be a good scheme to have, and you can run a lot of blitzes off of that. And so I think that making someone besides Devontae Adams beat you should be a key if they can. If they pass it to MVS and he gets 7 catches, Tanya gets 7 catches, okay, they're good job. There's nothing we can do about that. But I think that if you do not want to see Adams get 15 catches for 150 and 2 touchdowns, that just can't happen if you're Robert Saleh.
Build on the size point that Julian mentioned. Devontae Adams is 6'1", DK Metcalf 6'4". Yeah. So, I think Mosley definitely has a better chance of locking up Devontae Adams. I mean, Devontae Adams did not do much in the NFC Championship game. Again, that was against Richard Sherman, who's a lot better than Emmanuel Mosley, but still, I do think Mosley's going to want to come back, do well. He's a pretty solid cornerback, don't get me wrong, but is he going to be able to lock up Devontae Adams, or is it going to be Jason Verrett, whoever it is? I don't know. That's the big question, and that's why it's so important for the Niners to just lock up Devontae Adams today. And I think, Max, you can definitely agree with me on that Devontae Adams is definitely one of the most crucial pieces to your offense.
Yeah, I just don't think you guys are giving him enough credit for how good a route runner he is. For sure. A simple cover 2 man coverage with a safety help over top isn't enough. I mean, he's arguably the best route runner in football, apart from maybe Julio, I'd say. I just think that people sleep on him and continue to sleep on him after he balls out week in and week out. And it's due to his ability to release off the line. His releases are crazy. But I mean, to get into like my goals for the defense for the Packers, it's pretty simple, and it's keep everything in front of them and stop the run. allow these, if they're going to pass the ball, just keep everything in the flats, because like you said, that's what the Niners do. So if they can keep everything in front of them, limit the big plays, and consistently stop the run, there's not a whole lot that the offense can do. And I don't want to discredit Kyle Shanahan in any way, because I think he's one of the bright minds of football today, but I just don't think that there's a lot that the Niners can do offensively. And then Niners key defensively, like you guys said, is put a stop to this passing game. One of the bigger blessings is that we're really depleted at running back right now. So if you guys are able to capitalize off that, force the Packers to run the football as much as they don't want to with the injury to Aaron Jones. You said, Sam, they want him in a limited role. Force them to run the football, because this year the Packers have done a lot of damage just in the passing game. They've been lighting up defenses with their ability, Aaron Rodgers' ability to put the ball in tight windows. So stop the pass. Definitely try to double Devontae. And like you said, Julian, if it means that Valdez-Scantling and Tunyon are getting more targets, then so be it, as long as it's not Devontae for those big plays.
Yeah, for sure. I think the running is key. I think you're not gonna be able to stop this passing offense. You just want to slow it down, right? I think that Rodgers is gonna get his 275 at least passing yards with 2 to 3 touchdowns, probably more. And I think that really you want to make them one-dimensional. You can't win them. You can't beat this team if they have the run game going and the passing game going. I think if you can dominate that run, which is possible with a Aaron Jones, that I don't think they would run him out with injury risk, but he's not 100%. He's not the Aaron Jones that he was a couple weeks ago when he popped off against the Lions, right? I think that making them one-dimensional by dominating the run is key, because you can't have Aaron Rodgers rolling out on a play action and just be like throwing darts to Devontae Adams for 10, 15 yards every single time. And they're just going to run it. You got to stop that run, make them drop back, then you can bring some pressure, see what happens. And so I think that if they get the run game and pass game going, it's over. But I think that if you can force the run, if you can slow down the run, it'll be easier to slow down the pass. So I think those two go hand in hand.
Yeah, for sure. And as Max said, like stopping the run, Julian, it kind of just building off of both of your points. My defensive key for the Green Bay Packers is pressure. And it's really simple, because the Niners offense is so depleted. They have 3 starting offensive linemen, and that might sound a bit weird. Like, why am I saying pressure when you can capitalize on the injuries? The reason I'm saying pressure is because pressure just kills everything on the offense. Like, you win games in the trenches. The more pressure you have, the more pressure you have, the better your defense is going to do. If they just pressure Nick Mullins all game long, there's absolutely no way that Green Bay loses this game, even if it's the slightest bit. Like, if they get like 3 sacks this game total, and they keep doing a ton of quarterback pressures, they're going to win this game. It's that simple. Just a lot of pressure is all you need to win this game for the Green Bay Packers. It doesn't matter how good the offense is, how bad the offense is, how good the Niners defense is. If the Green Bay Packers apply pressure all game, they're going to win this game. It's that simple. And so that's my point of the game. Kind of building off yours, kind of a bit more straightforward, but I think this stream has gone pretty well. We both agree that the Niners quarterbacks have to step up. The Green Bay pressure has to step up, and then the Niners running game has to step up. So, there's definitely certain keys to the game. Unlike last week, I don't know if you guys saw that, but there were so many keys for both teams. This week, it's really just straightforward, like how you win this game.
Yeah, it's all based on circumstance. Last week, you guys had a really big game it was the Seahawks, right?
Yeah, Seattle.
Yeah, so big game, division rival, lots of implications for playoffs. People who aren't injured are able to play in that game. This week it's just different. The game it's going to be simple, and it's going to come down to a few key factors, and I think we harped on those already. But it just shows what injuries and the times that we're in right now, how people need to continue to be safe and do their part, because I mean, even a false positive test can impact
It's
the
fucked
outcome
us
of
over
a
today.
football
It's
game.
that simple.
So
It screwed us over today. So
I mean, yeah, it's a false positive. So
Yep.
yeah, and I know there was a ton of people like going out on Halloween everywhere, so there's probably a lot of cases. So guys, do your part, man. It's that simple. Just as Max said, just do your part to stop the spread. That simple. Great message that we have there. All right, are you guys good with keys to the game?
tremendous.
All right, perfect. Then let's just get on to key players. So I'm going to start off with the 49ers key players, and all of these are kind of reminiscing on my key points of the game. So I have a few players here, a few groups here. So let's start with Big Dick Nick Mullins. I mean, he's back in the lineup. We'll see what happens here.
Daddy.
We'll see what happens with Nick Mullins, but hopefully he can be the Nick Mullins. Last time he played on Thursday Night Football, that was probably the best game of his career, in my opinion. So hopefully he can reminisce that again. JaMychal Hasty, I'm putting JaMychal Hasty over McKinnon. I do think he's going to get more of the workload. It seems like the Niners are using McKinnon as the satellite back, trying to get him more involved in the passing game. Well, Hasty could be the workhorse today. So I'm expecting to see a lot more Hasty than McKinnon. So I'm gonna put that on my key players as well. And then you got who you got next guy up. I'm gonna go with the whole wide receiver core. The team is so depleted at wide receiver. It's ridiculous how depleted this team is at wide receiver. So really, kind of as Julian said, you need those short passes. Everyone in the receiving core has to step it up if this team wants to win, because you can't really win a game without receiving. It's that simple. Also on the offense, I'm going to put Mike McGlinchey there. He has been really struggling as of recently. And I think he's got to step it up. Especially the Packers, as Niner by Nature said right here, if the Packers blitz, they will win. Mike McGlinchey has to step it up to ensure that doesn't happen. And then on the defensive side, usually I have multiple people for that. I only got one thing. It's the cornerback core. And it's just simply just locking up the Packers receivers. That simple. So those are my Niners key players for the game.
Well, if the Packers blitz, they will win. I don't know how true that is. I don't think they need to blitz considering our offensive line, because I don't think they will. Why would you blitz when you have a backup left tackle, a top 10 pick right tackle was just atrocious. So I think Zadarius Smith, if they blitz and get pressure, that could be troublesome. But I think that Kyle Shanahan is a good enough play caller that he can work around the blitz. So blitzing and getting pressure is important, but I think that if you blitz too much, Kyle Shanahan is gonna find a way to get quick passes. So just a response to that. And I think that another guy that's key, I think, really Kyle Juszczyk, because I think if he can get the blocking downfield and he can get those explosive plays, you've seen JaMychal Hasty, how explosive he is. He looks like a freaking mini Marshawn, right? I think that he's really good. He's really explosive. He hits the gaps really well. And I think that without George Kittle, probably our second best blocker besides Kyle Juszczyk, maybe he could argue he's even better.
I would say, yeah.
So I think that Kyle Juszczyk is key, not only in the blocking game, but also in the receiving and running game, when I think they should hand the ball off to him a good amount of times. And I think that you can put him out wide, you can put him in the slot, you can put him wherever you want. He's just that versatile. And so I think that Kyle Juszczyk is really a key player. And I would say that Jordan Reed and Ross Dwelly are also, because I think that the wide receivers, they're not going to produce. They're just not good enough. I honestly believe they're not good enough. So I think it's going to come down to Jerick McKinnon out of the backfield catching passes, and Ross Dwelly and Jordan Reed. Get those people involved. You have not passed to Ross Dwelly in like 3 weeks. That has to change. He's a great receiver. Really good he's a lot better after the catch than he was last year. And Jordan Reed, he's just an athlete. I think that he probably would be a little hobbled, but I still think that he'll be good to go. He did practice. It was limited, but he still was practicing. And so I think that getting the tight ends involved will be key in this game, because you don't have Debo, Kendrick Bourne, or Ayuk. So get the tight ends involved. You have good tight ends even without George Kittle. So those are some of the key players.
Yeah, and kind of building off of that, I mean, you mentioned Kyle Juszczyk. I haven't mentioned him once this year in my key players, because that's how important he is. He's just like a key player every time. And I mean, yeah, he is so important to our offense. People don't realize that. I would say I don't even realize that sometimes, how important this guy is to our offense. So Kyle Juszczyk could come up in a big way today. Also, Julian, got a quick question for you. If George Kittle wasn't playing, do you think Reed would have been activated? Sorry, if George Kittle was playing, do you think Reed would have been activated?
I think he would have. I don't think they're going to rush him out there just because George Kittle. I think he's too valuable right now to rush him out there just because George Kittle's not playing, especially that they do have Ross Dwelly. So I think even if George Kittle was in, I mean, it might have been a little bit more hesitation, but I still think that he would be activated. I'm not like inside the locker room. I don't really know, but that's just my guess.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned Ross Dwelly. If they want to limit Reed today, Ross Dwelly did really well last week when he came in, so I think that's perfectly fine. Max, you got any key Niners players?
Niners players.
We kind of took them all, so I mean.
Yeah, I was going to say Hasty because I'm excited to see how he can perform in this spotlight. Sam, you loved that dude preseason, so yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what he can do. He's in the
thumbnail for a reason, man.
What about for Packers players? You got any key players for the Packers, Max?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to harp on the big guys. Like, I mean, Devontae and Rodgers. I mean, obviously, I want them to have big games, but I have three of them. First is Robert Tonyan. He coming out of the bye, kind of after that three touchdown game going into the bye, coming out of the bye, he didn't see the ball that often. This past week, he had a good game. I think he had 5 catches for 70 yards, but I think this is a good week to kind of get back on track and see if he can get back to that form that he had in those first couple weeks. Second, I said earlier, I think Jair Alexander, this could be a big week for him. On the season, he has 1 pick.
Got to pick that up.
And only 3 passes defended. From a corner that gets as much hype as he does, I think that we need more production out of him. And then third, I'd say Preston Smith. Dude has half a sack on the year and getting outshined by Za'Darius. So, and he hasn't been injured at all either. It's just his inability to get to the passer. He only has 2 QB hits on the year. So if we can just get penetration with Preston, he can match what the other Smith brothers doing. I think we could be in for a treat tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Preston Smith, I think that's one of my key players for this game, along with Za'Darius Smith, because I mean, look at the tackles for the Niners. You got Justin School and you got Mike McGlinchey. One of those guys is going to be up against a tackle who's been underperforming. The other guy is going to be up against a tackle who hasn't started, who hasn't started this year, starting the past, not this year. I mean, they're both are due for big games today, especially Preston Smith with a half sack. He could really, if Mike McGlinchey's struggling again, they're going to put him on McGlinchey, and it's not even going to be fair because you got Za'Darius School and Justin School, and then you got Mike McGlinchey just getting dominated by Preston Smith. Let's be real, School's not going to school anyone. Mike McGlinchey's not going to do anything. I just wanted to say get schooled by School, something like that. That's the only reason I said that. But anyways, I mean, definitely big guys for the Packers, Za'Darius and Preston Smith. Also, their linebacker core is going to be crucial in stopping the run. So I don't know who's starting. Do you know, Max?
No, I just know that Kirksey's out and Kamal Martin's obviously out.
Okay, so their linebacker core is pretty weak. So that's definitely going to hurt Green Bay. And then on the offensive side, I got 3 guys. Aaron Rodgers, don't need to say much about him. I mean, I know guys in the chat, Niner by Nature 88's been bringing him up a lot. So there's a lot that Aaron Rodgers has to do. So yeah, and then the running back core, again, Aaron Jones is active, but it's going to be very interesting to see how are they going to use Aaron Jones. I think that's definitely going to be interesting to see how they use him, see what happens, see how that helps the game out for them or us, depending on what happens. And then Davante Adams, we've talked so much about him. I don't really need to say any more about him.
Yeah, for key players on that Packers offense, it's everyone besides Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Davante Adams. Every skill position player besides those 3. The other players I think really need to step up. And I don't want to say need because they can obviously just force feed Davante Adams the ball 15 times and they still will probably win. But I think that Kyle Shanahan, remember 2 years ago with CJ Beathard, and Marquise Goodwin, he still found a way to make it close. So I think that MBS should really need them to step up. And I think that with Lazard out, which is a pretty big blow because he was pretty obviously their wide receiver too, I think Robert Tonyan and MVS and St. Brown, or I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Equanimeous or something like that. I think they need to step up for that team because I do think that Robert Saleh is smart enough defensive coordinator. I know you don't like him that much, Sam, but I think he's a really good defensive coordinator considering what he's had to do, who he lost, and he's still a really good defense. So I think that those other wide receivers need to step up because I don't think Robert Saleh is going to let Adams go 15, 175, and 2 touchdowns. So I think that some of these other skill position players need to step up for this offense.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you mentioned Robert Saleh and my dislike for him. It's just like, I mean, I just get pissed off when he doesn't make the adjustments. He made them last week. So, I mean, hopefully he'll carry on that as you said, Julian, hopefully he'll make those adjustments and carry on. So yeah, those are all my key players. Do you guys got any more? Perfect. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into score predictions. So I'll start with this one. Usually I would say we would win this game, and it's because we own the Packers. But, I mean, with all the injuries, I don't see any way we're going to win this game. One of the reasons I'm not doing post-game is because I have a video coming out soon kind of about, like, what's going on with the Niners organization. And I don't really have that many expectations for this team. And one of the reasons I'm not doing, also, kind of adding on to the video, I'm expecting us to lose this game. And that's why I feel like it's an okay post-game to miss. Plus, I want to hop on Fantasy Hall Monitor, talk some fantasy with Julian and Jake. So make sure to tune into that after the game. The link is in the description again. But sticking to this game, I'm going to go with a score of 35-20 Packers. I do think the Packers are going to come up big on offense. As for the Niners offense, I do think the running game is going to help them a lot, but it's not going to be much. Packers are going to score big. Niners are not. 35-20 Packers. That's my final score prediction.
I think I disagree. Well, I agree that my prediction has the Packers winning, but I still think there's a chance for the Niners to keep it close and maybe win this because I think they're just going to run the ball. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I think Hasty's going to do really well. So I do think that they're going to keep it closer than a 15-point game. And so I think it's going to be 31 to 24. I think it's going to be a 7-point game. I still think that offense will still be able to put up over 20. But I do see that Aaron Rodgers is going to pull this one out, and I think that the Packers will win this. But if I'm being honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners won this or if it was extremely close and it came down to a field goal, just considering Kyle Shanahan and how bad that run defense is for Green Bay and how good of a run schemer he is on that offense. So I'm going to go 31-24 in the Packers' favor.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to go 31-12 with a big game for Robbie Gould, 4 field goals. Yeah, I don't know. I just agree with what you guys are saying. I agree with what you guys are saying. I mean, Julian, I just don't think it's going to be that close. Like, injuries on the offensive side are really going to take a toll. And, as much as I want to see Hasty do well and, McKinnon after all those injuries do well, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to be able to push the ball down the field a little bit, but I don't think they're going to be able to consistently get first downs in order to get in the end zone. And especially with the inability to get those big plays without your star guys in there. I mean, Debo, that dude's a big play machine, and he's not playing. One of my goals was, if the Packers can keep everything in front of them and just keep the Niners to these little chunk gains, I just don't think that their offense is going to be able to get going. And then the Packers offense just needs to execute. I saw a comment, something about, key player for the Packers is Matt LaFleur. And that's honestly the truth. I mean, if LaFleur can call plays that Aaron Rodgers doesn't get pissed off about, I think we could be in for a treat tonight. So,
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a lot of people are saying this is going to be a blowout. I mean, I'm not expecting a blowout. All I'm saying is I'm expecting a big Packers offensive performance. And I mean, I think the Niners could come through in the offense with the run game, but I think the Packers offense is going to be a bit too much. But don't sleep on this game. This could be a very entertaining, high octane offense game. This is going to be a fun one to watch, guys. So I'm hoping everyone's looking forward to it. Do you guys have any closing thoughts before I end the stream?
Go Pack, go, baby.
No,
Got
I'm all
anything else,
good.
Y'all good? All right, perfect. Well, we're going to end the stream here. Max, good luck to your team tonight. Julian, let's hope we do this. Guys, make sure to tune in to Fantasy Hall Monitor after the game. The link is in the description. We'll leave it down there. Julian and I will be there. Jake will be there, who's been on some of my streams. Video will come out Saturday, kind of going over the game, other stuff as well. Make sure to tune into that. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys